Uh, Hello. Uh, oh, sorry. My name is Indranil Datta, and I am thinking about becoming a web developer, and these videos are my vlogs about my progress, how far I can go, and I don't know if you like to watch these or not, but I want to watch them after 5 years. How was I and how I am gonna be in future. So let's what I have opened now is a YouTube video. I watched this video, as you can see, watched, and it told that
So you want to be a software engineer at Google? Go to algoexpert.io. Pick a question. Read the prompt.
हेलो जी कैसे हो?
I cannot do anything about this. These are YouTube ads, annoying, but it's okay. So he told me about, you can see that complete. Oh no, complete. No, what is going on? Oh no, complete roadmap for web development, move to advanced web developer 2020. So as I told you, I want to become a web developer. So he told me, this person told me, he's a good guy. So let's see what he's talking about.
और अपना फ्रीलांसिंग भी कर सकते हो, तो मतलब बहुत एक प्रैक्टिकल स्किल है, ठीक है। फ्रेमवर्क्स है, तो वहाँ पे कंफ्यूजन आती है। बात करूँ तो जब मैंने अमेजोन ज्वाइन की थी आज की, तो मुझे पता है 1 साल में करना क्या करना है, वो सब कुछ डिस्कस करता हूँ तो आपको आएगा। अब जब हम वेब डेव कर रहे हैं तो आपको 3 चीज़ें आनी चाहिए, 3 चीज़ें हम सीखेंगे, जिसमें से पहली चीज़ है एसेंशियल स्टफ, कॉमन प्रोग्रामिंग स्किल्स, जो क्या इसके अंदर क्या होता है वो बताएंगे आपको, भी धीरे आगे बढ़ाते जाएंगे, ठीक है। सेकंड चीज़ फ्रंट एंड, उसको भी आगे वेब डेवलपर, फुल स्टैक वेब डेवलपर बन जाओगे, ठीक है। स्टार्ट कर लेते हैं, पर एक चीज़ डिस्कस करते हैं स्टार्ट करने से पहले। अगर आपको विजुअल रिप्रेजेंटेशन, रोड मैप, किसी किसी को वीडियो पसंद होती है, किसी किसी को विजुअल रिप्रेजेंटेशन पसंद होती है कि हाँ ये वाली चीज़ अच्छी लगती है, तो गिटहब पे एक रेपोजिटरी है कामरान अहमद की, यहाँ पे आ रही होगी, तो आप इनकी रेपोजिटरी में जाके देख सकते हो। उन्होंने बहुत ही प्यारा रोड मैप बनाया हुआ है वेब डेव के लिए। फ्रंट एंड का भी अलग से बना रखा है, बैक एंड का भी अलग से बना रखा है, कॉमन प्रोग्रामिंग स्किल्स का भी अलग से बना रखा है, तो आप इनका रोड मैप भी फॉलो कर सकते हो। यहाँ पे आ रहा हूँ, कहीं पे देख लेना एक बार, ठीक है। अब स्टार्ट करते हैं सबसे पहले पॉइंट के साथ, जो कि है कॉमन प्रोग्रामिंग स्किल्स या फिर एसेंशियल स्टफ, ठीक है। यहाँ पर 3 चीज़ें लाई करेगी। पहली गिटहब एंड गिट, अब ये एक वर्जन कंट्रोल सिस्टम होता है। यहाँ पर एक चीज़ और कि इस पर पहले ही मैं 2 वीडियोज़ बना चुका हूँ, एक ये एक ये।
So what we have to do is learn Git, Git and what was the GitHub hub. So okay, these are 2 things. He told me he already made a video. We will watch that later.
ठीक है, तो ये दोनों वीडियो आप देख सकते हो और इसे सीख सकते हो। अगर आपको वीडियो नहीं देखनी है, आपको कोई डेडिकेटेड कोर्स ही देखना है, तो Udacity के ऊपर गिटहब के लिए एक फ्री कोर्स पहले से है, तो आप वो वाला कोर्स देख सकते हो। यहाँ पे आ रहा होगा, मैं लिंक नीचे डिस्क्रिप्शन में डाल दूंगा। अब सेकंड पॉइंट है हमारे पास बेसिक टर्मिनल कमांड्स या फिर बेसिक लाइनक्स कमांड।
Okay, so I am not going any further, so but I will write it down. Basic Linux command. So I will start it tomorrow or after next video, but I am just going to start it. Start with the GitHub. Oh, sorry, Git and GitHub. Okay, so we will see where is the project video link. GitHub. Yeah, I cannot find it. Udacity. This is the one. This is the one. Let's see Udacity version control with Git. Okay, let's get started. Sign up. I'm gonna sign up with lots of things. This is the. I'm going to use this account. Oh no. How to find the Git now? Let's open it again. Udacity gift course, this one. Start free course. So if you are new, you can start with me. As I am new too, I cannot clear your doubts. I am frankly speaking. But you can follow me. That's what I am learning now. When there will be any problem, I will find it, solve it by myself. And as a beginner, I hope you will be same as me. Unless you are a computer science student, or you know what I mean. I hope. So the I just want to tell you my videos are my vlogs. Okay, so you can skip if you don't like some portion. So this is basically for me and whoever is new who want to learn like me. So oh, this is good. Look, version control with Git. Before that, should not we learn what is version control? Oh, these are the lessons. What is version control? Create a Git repo. I don't know what is this. Git repo. Repo means review a repo history. Add commits to a repo. What is repo, bro? Tagging, branching, merging. Being able to work on a project in isolation. Okay, we'll go for it. Oh my god, can you see that? Oh, this is 1 hour 15 minutes. This is again 1 hour 15 minutes, 2 hours, 1 hour 30 minutes. So these, I don't think I am going to get it in one day. So whatever, let's begin. I will upload the whole video without any editing. I don't want to waste time on editing. Okay, then begin lesson 1. Please help us improve our student experience. Actually, I'm not used to it now. I will close it now. What is version control? Video, zip file, transcripts, git key terms, Udacity terminal configure. Okay, resource. What is version control?
Hello and welcome! Today we'll be learning all about version control, and we'll be using the version control tool, Git, to help us manage different versions of our project. Now, before we dive into some of the nitty-gritty details, let me tell you a story, because who doesn't love story time?
Okay, wait a minute. I don't know if you can... Input output. I should add output too. I hope it works. Okay, now we start from the beginning.
Hello and welcome! Today we'll be learning all about version control, and we'll be using the version...
Yes.
Control tool, Git, to help us manage different versions of our project. Now, before we dive into some of the nitty-gritty details, let me tell you a story, because who doesn't love story time? Back in the day, my brother and his best friend would play games all the time. But one of their favorite board games was a popular World War II strategy board game. The board game shows a map of the world, and you put pieces on the board and move them around. I didn't really care for the game all that much because it would take so long to play. Sometimes they'd be playing a single game for a day or more. Now, because there's a big board with lots of pieces that move around, if they had to pause the game, they would snap a picture with their phone. They'd use these pictures as save points in case anything happened to the board or the pieces, like someone bumping the table or the dog coming along and knocking the pieces everywhere. If there were a problem, they could use a picture to recreate the exact setup and jump back to that point in the game. So each of these pictures is a save point. The pictures record the time, who took the picture, and the state and location of the pieces. This idea of a save point is exactly what version control does. You don't seem all that impressed. Well, let me tell you that it's incredibly powerful, and I love having it. Because when you use version control, you create save points that save your project. This lets you have the freedom to change absolutely anything about your project and be confident that nothing will be lost. Total security and total freedom. Who wouldn't want that? And you get all of that with a version control system. Sounds pretty awesome, right? So hi, I'm Richard, and I've been using version control for years, and Git has saved me from countless sticky situations. For example, one time I'd realized I'd deleted an important image, but I was able to recover it because the project was being tracked with version control. It's an incredibly helpful tool, and you'll grow to depend on it as much as I do. You ready to get started? Awesome, let's get going.
Okay. Version control, since you are in this course, you might already know a bit about version control. Actually, I don't know what is a version control. But if you don't, a handy trick I have learned is to try reading the words in reverse. So version control would become control version. Oh. So a version control system is just software that helps you control or manage the different versions of something, typically source code. Oh, this is interesting. This is good. Further research. Let's see.
There are a number of version control systems out there, but three of the most popular are Git, Subversion, and Mercurial. Not only are there dozens and dozens of different version control systems, there are actually two different categories. There's the centralized model, and then the distributed model. In the centralized model, there's one all-powerful central computer that hosts the project. Every interaction must go through this central computer. In the distributed model, there's no central repository of information. Each developer has a complete copy of the project on their computer, which is cool because that means you can also work offline. In this course, we'll be using the version control system Git, which is a distributed version control system. Now, you might have heard of GitHub. Git and GitHub are quite different. Git is the version control tool, while GitHub is the service that hosts Git projects. To work with Git projects, you're not required to use GitHub, but it's an awesome tool and you should definitely check it out. For now, you can think of it as basically just another computer where you can upload a copy of your project. Centralized, distributed, if these don't make a lot of sense right now, that's totally fine. This is to give you a big picture idea of where things fit together. These terms are more important if you're working with a team, but you'll be working locally on your computer for the entirety of this course.
Okay. Version control system. Git, Subversion, Mercurial, centralized model, distributed model. Centralized means centralized model connects to central master repository, and here user has the entire repository on their computer. Okay. Means everyone has the same code. Okay. Further research, recap. Okay. So we move to the next. Version control is everywhere. My job revolves around working with documents. I create new documents all the time. I fill them with information, hopefully informative information, and then edit. Is your job like this? Perhaps it's not documents or text, but you are probably working with data in some form or another that changes over time. Okay, now you might not think that you are using version control when working with documents, and you would be right, sort of. You are not actually maintaining different versions of the document as you write it, but that doesn't mean that there are not different versions of the documents. The computer is keeping track of the different versions for you. Don't believe me? Aside from pondering your pondering your prosperity towards doubting, let's prove I'm right. Okay, open up your favorite text editor. Okay, type some content. How it version control will tell. Change one of the words in your rote. Example, change tell to life changing also. Now here is come. Press Ctrl Z or Command Z or Ctrl Z. Oh, I bet you use the undo command all the time. I know that I should do. Practically every application I have ever used has an undo features. You can think of this as a form of version control, but it's rather limited form of version control. Let's look at more powerful form by checking out a Google Docs document. The Google Docs outline for this Git course. If you ever written in Google Docs, have you noticed the large small gray text at the top that tells you about the status of the document? Small gray. Okay, even notice that you type it's actually saving the document. Then when you finish typing, it tells you the documents were saved. Yes. I have seen that. Someplace here they pop up a saving option. Yes, there it is, saving. The real question is, did you know that is a link that you can click on? Once you also try it out. Click on the link, takes you to revision history page. Did you notice the word revision? The word version is a synonym of revision. Wow, I didn't know that. Let's see.
Here's the outline for this course you're taking right now. Let's click on this link to get to its revision history page. This main part shows the document that we see in the normal view, but this sidebar provides all the awesome features we want. This is the history of the changes made to this document. They're organized by date and show who made the edits. Clicking on one of these will swap out the current version of the document with an older one. Let's click on the October 13th version. The main area now shows the version of the document as it appeared on October 13th. It also provides these arrows to let us jump to the edits that were made. The highlight color indicates which user made the edit. If I like this older version of the document, I can replace the current version with this older one by clicking the Restore this revision link. One last thing is that Google Docs will group lots of changes together in one larger group. If you want to see smaller sets of changes, that's what the Show More Detailed Revisions button does.
Revision history isn't powerful enough. Google Doc revision history page is incredibly powerful. I've used it on several occasions to salvage text that I was written in one point erased, then realized I actually did want to keep. But for its ability is not a powerful as we like. What's they feel that I can think about the ability to label a change to give a detailed explanation of why a change was made. Ability to move between different versions of the same value. Ability to undo change A, make edit B, then get back change A without affecting edit B. Wow, I get it. That means, what does it mean? Actually, Control Z is a small version, and Git is the big brother of Control Z. Control Z has a limit. I have used it for Photoshop or Illustrator. There is around in Illustrator I have seen there is only you can go back to 50 undos. 50 times you can undo 50 actions. Okay. So next. Okay. Git and version control terminology. Okay.
When I was first learning Git, one of the hardest things for me to pick up on were all of the various terms that were used. For those of you that see a big long list of terms and zone out, don't worry, just skim the list for big picture ideas. If you're like me and like knowing the terms that are being used, then this section's for you. These terms are the vocabulary we use to talk about version control, features of a version control system, changes we'd like to make to our code while it's in a version control system, and so on. Some terms are, well, version control system, source code manager, commit, repository, repo, checkout, working directory, staging area, the index, staging index, SHA, branching, merging, merge complex, remotes. Wow, get these things out of here. So yeah, the terminology can be a bit overwhelming. There are a number of good handouts around the web though, but I've created one for you that lists the most important terms along with a brief definition as a companion to this course. I highly recommend that you download this right now. Place it on your desktop, or print it out and have it on your desk. Use it as we progress through the course to review key terms. At first, the words might not make any sense because this is one of those chicken and egg scenarios. Should I learn the terminology first, or how to actually use Git? I think it's easiest if you learn Git if you have some familiarity with the terms it uses. In addition, it might be helpful for you to create your own cheat sheet. If you get stuck on a word or idea, just write it down. So if you get a handle on version control's somewhat foreign terminology, you're already a giant step towards becoming a Git master.
Okay, terminology. Yes, this is the Git key terms. I'm gonna download it. Let's download it. Open it. And let's see. Version control system source code manager. This allows you to revert files back to previous state, revert the interface back to previous state, review changes made over time, who last one be causing a problem, who introduced an issue, and commit, snapshot. It thinks of its data like a set of snapshot of a mini file system. Every time you commit or save the state of a project in Git, it basically takes a picture. All your file looks like at the moment and stores the reference to the snapshot. Respiratory repo, a directory that contains your project work as well as few files hidden by default in Mac OS X which are used to communicate with Git repositories, can exist either locally or your computer or there is a remote copy on another computer. Respiratory repo. I want to read it once again. Respiratory repo, a directory that contains your project work as well as a few files hidden by default in Mac OS X, which are used to communicate with Git. Repositories can exist either locally on your computer or as a remote copy on another computer. Okay. Working directory, the files that you see in your computer's file system. When you open your project files up on a code editor, you are working with files in the working directory. This is contrast to the files that have been saved in commits in the repository. When working with Git, the working directory is also different from command lines concept. The current working directory, which is the directory that your cell is looking at right now. Look, seriously, I cannot understand every single word, but I hope I will learn it soon. Understand actually, I am learning now. Understand it soon. Check out. When contents in the repository has been copied to the working directory, it is possible to check out many things from a repository, a file, commit, a branch, etc. Staging area or staging index or index, a file in the Git directory that stores information about what will go into your next commit. You can think of staging area as a prep table where Git will take the next commit. Files on the staging index are supposed to be added to the repository. SHA. A SHA is basically an ID number for each commit. Okay. It is a 40 character string composed of characters 0, 9 and AA and calculated based on the contents of a file or directory structure in Git. SHA is shorthand for SHA hash. A SHA might look like this is a Bitcoin wallet address. Looks like. Don't you think it is a Bitcoin wallet address or any LTC or anything? Branch. A branch is when a new line of development is created that diverges from the main line of development. This alternative line of development can continue without altering the main line. Going back to the example of save point in a game, you can think of a branch as where you make a save point in your game and then decide to try out a risky move in the game. If the risky move doesn't pan out, then you can just go back to the save point. The key thing that makes branches incredibly powerful is that you can make save points on a branch and then switch to a different branch and make save points there too. Okay, take your own notes. Okay, so the terminology is version control, that is control Z type. Commit is this takes a snapshot. Repository repo, that we use to communicate with Git. Working directory, comparison when we open project files on a code editor. Okay, so it's simply the code. Working directory means code. I hope so. I cannot tell you properly, but I think the initial stage what I should tell you. My third sense, section, sorry, third sense. Oh, what am I? My sixth sense. So check out when content in the repository has been copied to working dictionary. The checkout is it is like the Amazon product buying checkout. Working dictionary, what I think is a code editor. I'm editing the code, or I change the code and then I make a new file, edit code and give some output. Staging area, staging index, indexing, store information. I don't understand it totally. Really, the stores information about what will go into a next commit. Okay. It's like okay, I will think about it later. And this one, that's one ID, the Bitcoin wallet type, branch, line of development. This alternative line of development can continue with the alternative in the main line. Okay. Okay. I get it. I have played IDG, Prince of Persia, and I remember in Prince of Persia, I can save game from multiple locations. I want to start later. There is an auto save option too. Okay, I get it. Branch, I get it. So next, I get the terminology from resources. Yes. Okay, I downloaded it. The same thing was here. Yet we downloaded it. Did from there. Okay, there is a quiz question. Oh my god, respiratory.
Let's say we have a repository that is made up of these three files. We want to start using version control in this project, so we create a new Git repository. In a Git repository, there are three main areas we need to know about. First, there's the working directory. Then there's the staging index. And last is the repository. So we have these three distinct areas in Git. When you're first working with Git, it can be a bit hard to realize that there are these three distinct areas because you don't really see any visible change to the files on your computer. Git manages these three different areas though, and we'll be using the git shell command to interact with files and move them from section to section. Okay, so we've created this empty Git repository. We can tell it's an empty repository because the repository section is empty. Git knows about files that it hasn't seen before. Let's indicate that a file is new with a green star. Git keeps track of files by adding them to the repository. We can't move these files right into the repository though. They have to be moved to the staging index first. So we'll use Git to move the changes to the staging index. Remember that the staging index is where you can place all of the files that are about to be committed. Now let's commit them, which moves them into the repository. Now the files in their current state are safe. Let's say we then make some changes to our site's CSS file. Git sees this change and marks the file as modified. We take the same steps to move the changes in the CSS file to the staging index, and then commit them. I think you get the idea, but let's look at it one more time. Let's say the HTML and JavaScript files have changed. Remember that Git knows what files are new or changed. We'll move these changes to the staging index, and then commit them. So the process is, add a new file or modify an existing file, move the changes to the staging index, commit the changes to the repository. You got it? Okay then, what about this scenario? Let's say the HTML and CSS files have changed, and we've staged the changes. If we then decide to modify the HTML file again, what would happen if we made a commit right now? Seems like a good time for a quiz.
Oh no. Oh. Um, if I don't put it to look.
Let's say we changed, and we staged the changes. If we then decide to modify the HTML file again, what would happen if we made a commit right now?
According to me, what I think, I'm telling you. According to me, working directory to staging index, then staging index to repository, again that means this file will transfer to repository, then working directory comes to staging index to repository. So the question is only the HTML file change on the staging index, only the CSS will change in the, this is not possible. CSS, why CSS will change? CSS file change on the staging index. HTML file change in both working directory and staging index. Yes, that seems possible. Let's try. Staging index. Then what happens to the working directory? Oh, working directory. What is this? Remember, only the changes made on the staging index will be committed. So, what is the right answer? If changes happen, this is not something like CSS will changes. Yes, commit is made, only the changes that are in the staging index are saved in repository. Staging index. So that means from here, working directory to here, if I want from staging index to repository, then it will happen. Otherwise, if I change here, then save it, then it comes to staging index. This two files will get, then these two files will replace it. That is the ultimate. Okay, repository.
When a commit is made, only the changes that are on the staging index are moved into the repository. If we want to include the second set of changes in the commit, then we need to stage the changes. Now that this second change to the HTML file has been staged, the two sets of changes to the HTML file are combined into just one set of changes. And then we can commit like normal to move these changes into the repository. We have all of these changes saved in our repository, but how would we access these commits? What if we want to look at this specific commit? When each commit is made, Git creates an ID for it. The ID for the commit is its SHA, the first 7 characters for what each commit's SHA might look like.
Okay. Actually, look, only the 825 changes on the staging index.
When a commit is made, only the changes that are on the staging index are moved into the repository. If we want to include the second set of changes in the commit, then we need to stage the changes. Now that this second change to the HTML file has been staged, the two sets of changes to the HTML file are combined into just one set of changes. And then we can commit like normal to move these changes into the repository. We have all of these changes saved in our repository, but how would we access these commits? What if we want to look at this specific commit? When each commit is made, Git creates an ID for it. The ID for the commit is its SHA, the first 7 characters for what each commit's SHA might look like.
Okay. Returns behave, I already downloaded it. So
At its core, Git records changes to files as commits. These commits are all saved in a repository. Everything else, things like the working directory branches and SHAs, are there to help make and reference commits. As you've seen, the terminology that version control uses is kind of cryptic at first. Hopefully you had the handout with you and reviewed it as you went through the high-level overview of how Git is used. In the next section, we're going to install and configure Git. Make sure to follow each of the steps in order so that your computer will be configured like mine. Now, configuring your terminal isn't required for Git to work correctly or to continue with this course. You can do the entire course without this step. But not only does it make it easier to use, all professionals reconfigure their terminal. The reconfiguration we'll be doing will add color to the terminal and display specific Git information. Sounds good? Let's get to it.
let's start. Next, installing Git. Actually, this is for Mac. I don't have Mac, so I'm going for next Windows setup. Installing Git. Download software from Windows. Install Git. Choose all the default option. Okay, configure. Okay, after installing it. Okay. Oh, same page. Mac OS, Windows, Linux. Okay, there is the download. Let's start download. Git for Windows. Next. Oh my god, so many default. Okay. I have installed Git, so let's see. Once everything is installed, you should be able to run Git on the command line. It is relying CPU to take advantage of another configure command from here. What it looks like when you are finished. Oh my god. Oh, atom sublime. Okay. Oh my god. So let's run Git bash. What is this? I don't know. So this is Git. Okay. Wait. Okay. Hey, what happened? Okay. So let's see.
Here are the configuration files that I've downloaded and unzipped. I need to move these files into the home directory. The easiest way is to right-click on the window and choose Git.
Oh my god. Let's download these files too. Open folder. And now extract all. Okay, terminal configure. This is what
bash here from the list of options. This option shows up because I've already installed Git on this machine.
has profile.
In the shell, just type cd and press enter. This moves the shell to the home directory. To open
CD enter. CD enter. Okay. Okay, I'm already in home directory. Okay.
open this directory in Windows Explorer, type start and a period. I like being able to jump to this directory, so I'll pin this to the Quick Access menu. To do that, right-click on Quick Access and choose Pin Current Folder to Quick Access. Now let me shift these windows around to organize them better. Now that we have the home directory open, we can move the configuration files over. Select both items and drag them to the home directory window. They're in the correct location. Now they just need to be named correctly. Both files need to have a dot at the beginning of their names. Since Windows rename feature doesn't allow that, we have to do it on the command line. We'll use the MV command to rename to Quick Access menu. To do that, right in Windows Explorer, type start and a period.
Start and dot. Start then dot. Okay, that happened here. So what?
I like being able to jump to this directory, so I'll pin this to the Quick Access menu. To do that, right-click on Quick Access and choose.
Okay, I will also pin that value. I don't know what is this.
Choose Pin Current Folder to Quick Access. Now let me shift these windows around to organize them better. Now that we have the home directory open, we can move the configuration files over. Select both items and drag them to the home directory window. They're in the correct location.
Okay, then this is the two folders I have. Udacity terminal. There is what I'm doing. Best way. Okay. Now let's see.
Notation. Now they just need to be named correctly. Both files need to have a dot at the beginning of their names. Since Windows' rename feature doesn't allow that, we have to do it on the command line. We'll use the mv command to rename bash profile to .bash profile. We'll do the same thing with the folder. We'll use the mv command to rename Udacity terminal config to .udacity terminal config. To see the changes, we'll have to open a new shell.
Okay, look. Here is the problem. You will have to create a new folder. Terminal config. I'm naming is terminal config. Okay. And I am putting this here and this here. Okay. So he told me that mb command bash profile. Okay, I am putting mb command bash. Okay, I will check the name. Yes, bash profile dot bash profile. Okay, let's see. Oh, success. Terminal config. Now change the terminal config. mb space terminal config to dot terminal config. Oh, let's see. Success.
So the shell is now configured with the correct content, but I also like having a white background with black text. So I'll click in the top left corner of the app, choose Options, and then update the foreground color to black and the background color to white. Perfect. Now everything's configured.
Now we will do the same. I am going to click options, foreground black, background white. Okay. Oh, looks nice. What do I say? Okay, first time Git configuration. Oh my god. Okay. Set up Git with your name. So what I'm doing, Git configure global user dot name. Okay, what we are going to do, we just copy paste. Just copy paste here. Let's type git config. Actually, I can global user. If a space is there any space or no space? Dot name. I'm typing in name dot let's put enter. And actually I don't know how to find it. How should I know that this is correct? Email address. Okay, look. Google email control Z Oh no, I cannot use that. Oh my god. Let's type git config double dash global user dot no email. What is my email? gmail.com. Don't know. Okay, I don't know if display the original state in a conflict. Git config global color UI auto. Now config double global color that UI auto. Okay. Git config global merge conflict style div3. Git config global merge conflict style div3, enter. And last one is git config double dash list. What is this? Now my username, user ID, UI auto merge config div3. Oh yes, I did it. Git and code editor. The last step of configuration is to get Git working with your code editor. Below 3 the most popular code editor. If you use the okay, Git config global code. Wait, what does this mean? I cannot understand it. Code what? Do I need to change anything? Associate X text the user will be. I don't have VS Code. Let's download VS Code. VS Code download for Windows. Code download Visual Studio. Okay. So let's start here. Let's start. Everything is all set up. Okay. Udacity. Open Yes, name it not wait. It should be list. Create a desktop icon. Add path request. He'll restart. I don't know what is. I know this is going to have actually I want to show you the add open with codexian. I don't know, I think this might help. Windows Pro file contains some code I need to run. Till I hope. Okay, next. Ready to install. Let's install. Okay, this is too much. Is it 1 hour? I am doing this for 1 hour. Oh my god. Skip as much as possible. Actually, I told you this is my first video, so I don't know much, and I'm learning. You are learning too, so you can understand what difficulties I'm facing, and you can watch and learn the difficulty. And after I get I complete my knowledge in this, I will help you. I can guarantee you that I will surely help you with codes and everything. I will learn and teach you. I always love code. I never get a chance to actually implement it on my life. So okay, what was the code? Git config global core editor code. Wait, let's put it like this. Let's git config global core editor code. Wait, I don't know. Now I'm performing the list. Git config list. Git config list. Code editor code. Wait, I don't know this is even gonna work or not. I have installed Git. I have configured it to the magazine. Configured choose an editor. Okay. Next.
Great job setting up your computer to use Git. Going through this lesson, you laid a solid foundation to start learning version control. We looked at the benefits of version control and how incredibly helpful it can be. You also looked at the terminology that version control systems use, and you did download the terminology document, right? It'll be extremely helpful to have on hand as you go through the remaining lessons. And last, you installed Git and got everything configured. Fantastic work. Really, a lot of people get bogged down with all this stuff and never actually learn version control. So congrats on getting this far. Now, let's head to the next lesson to learn how to create a Git repository.
Okay, so this is good. Intro.
In the last lesson, we looked at some of the common terms used in version control systems.
Actually,
you also install Git on your computer.
We are not doing that right now. We will do it I don't want to extend it more, and right now I will stop the recording, and after finishing my lunch I will come again.